Welcome, everyone, to this deep dive, and we are going to be taking a close look at Tansel Ali's book, How to Learn Almost Anything in 48 Hours.
Yeah, very exciting.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating book, and it kind of covers a huge amount of ground from memory techniques to speed reading to even like,
Kind of the meta skill of learning how to learn.
yeah, exactly. And I think it's a pretty bold claim, right, to be able to learn anything in just 48 hours.
Yeah.
But I think
Wouldn't want to sign up for that.
exactly. Like we're all looking for those shortcuts and those little kind of hacks to make learning more efficient and more effective.
I think one of the things that's so interesting with the book is that Ali really challenges the traditional idea of rote memorization.
Yeah, like the way we were kind of taught in school.
Yeah.
Just drill it, drill it, drill it.
Yeah, exactly. And just repeat it over and over again until it sticks.
Yeah, and I've definitely found that doesn't work super well for me. Like things kind of go in one ear and out the other. If I'm just like,
It fades quickly.
yeah, if I'm just
Oh.
trying to cram it in.
Yeah. He argues that instead of this kind of dry repetition, we should actually be using our imaginations.
Really?
Yeah, to make the information more memorable.
Oh, that's interesting.
So he provides this acronym.
Okay,
It's a rather unique one, too, I think.
right, already.
It's called SMASHIN SCOPE.
Smashing
Yeah,
scope.
yeah.
Okay, what does that stand for?
So it stands for Senses Movement Association, Sexuality Self, Humor, Imagination, Number, Symbol, Color Order, Positive Images, and Exaggeration.
Wow, that's quite a mouthful.
It covers a lot of ground.
I'm kind of interested in the sexuality, self, and humor. Like those don't seem like traditional study
Mm.
tips.
Not what you'd find in your typical textbook.
Yeah.
But Ali argues that by incorporating these unexpected or taboo elements into our learning, we actually engage more of our brains and make the information stick better.
I can see that. I mean,
Yeah.
I know that like, if something is really funny or shocking or emotionally charged, I tend to remember it a lot more easily.
Precisely.
So how would we actually use this smash and scope like in real life?
Yeah. So let's say you have to remember a shopping list.
Oh, yeah.
Batteries, bread, avocados, toothpaste.
All right. Pretty standard.
Yeah, picture this. You're at the store and all the batteries are buzzing and flying around like angry bees.
Okay.
You're trying to swat them away with a loaf of bread, but it's gone all moldy and green like a ripe avocado.
Okay.
And then you squeeze the avocado, but instead of a pit, a giant tube of toothpaste pops out.
Okay. Well, I'm never going to forget that image.
There you go.
Like that's so much more memorable than just like, oh, I need batteries.
Ooh.
Bread, avocados.
It's a boring list.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny. It's vivid. It's like,
It's engaging your senses.
yeah, exactly. And I can see how that would stick with me. So that's just like one example of smash and scope.
That's right. It's just scratching the surface.
I'm already intrigued by that.
But it's a tool you can apply to anything, really.
So it sounds like learning can be a lot more fun than I thought.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be this kind of like, sit down and drill and kill kind of approach.
No.
It can be more playful and creative.
It can be like a game.
Yeah, I like that.
And speaking of games, Ali goes into specific memory techniques.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that can actually boost your learning capacity.
Okay.
And some of the techniques that he talks about are linking and association, the number shape system, the method of loci, and mind mapping.
Okay, those sound pretty intense. Let's break those down. So linking and association, what is that?
So it's about weaving a memorable story to connect seemingly unrelated items.
Okay.
Like, let's say you need to memorize these words: piano, waterfall, fire truck, broccoli.
That's random.
That is random.
How are those linked?
Well, imagine a grand piano perched at the top of a waterfall.
Okay.
And then suddenly this bright red fire truck comes zooming up,
Right.
and it uses its ladder to rescue the piano from the waterfall.
Huh?
And then as it drives away, it gets showered in fluorescent broccoli that were growing on the edge of the waterfall.
Well, I'm definitely not going to forget that image.
Yeah.
Like it's so bizarre, but I can already like picture it in my mind and I can remember those 4 words now.
That's a power of using vivid imagery and unexpected associations.
Yeah, like the more outlandish it is, the more I'm going to remember it.
Exactly.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, what about the number shape system?
Okay, so this is a system where you assign a shape to each number,
Okay.
and this can help you remember sequences.
Okay.
So, for example, 1 could be a candle, 2 could be a swan, 3 could be a boomerang, and so on.
Okay, so let's say I need to remember a security code, like A3 Zoo 7.
Okay.
How would I use the number shape system for that?
Okay. Close your eyes and imagine a snowman,
Okay.
and he's happily throwing a boomerang,
Okay.
and the boomerang circles around and it knocks over a donut that's rolling down a hill,
Okay.
and then inside the donut, you find the lucky horseshoe.
I can see it. I can see that happening.
Here you go.
Okay, so that's like a visual way to remember that sequence of numbers.
Exactly. Gives you a visual anchor.
Okay.
The method of loci operates in a similar way,
Cool.
but instead of using shapes, you use familiar locations as your memory pegs.
Okay.
So imagine you're strolling through your home.
Okay, I can do that.
Yeah. So let's say you need to remember the main points for a presentation.
Okay.
Market trends, customer feedback, and future projections.
All right, those are good points.
Yeah. So you enter your living room,
Okay.
and the walls are covered in charts and graphs depicting the latest market trends.
Okay.
Then you walk into the kitchen, and your family's all gathered around the table excitedly sharing their feedback.
Uh-huh.
And finally, you go into your study, and there's a holographic display revealing future projections.
Okay, so it's like I'm walking through my house,
Yeah,
and each room is like a different point that I need to remember.
exactly. You're creating a mental map
Oh, that's really cool.
using a space you already know.
Okay, and then what was the last one? Mind mapping.
Yes, so mind mapping is a way to structure information visually,
Okay.
and it's really great for brainstorming, problem solving, and study.
I've always been a little intimidated by mind maps. I don't know why they just seem kind of complicated.
They're not complicated at all.
Okay.
You just start with a central idea, and then you branch out connecting related concepts.
Okay, so it's like pulling a tree.
That's a great way to put it, a tree of knowledge.
Yeah.
And you can add visuals like images, colors, and symbols.
Right, to make it more engaging.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that. So it's like I can see the relationships between different ideas.
Yes.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
It taps into both the analytical and creative sides of your brain. So it's good for comprehension and retention.
This is also fascinating. Like, it's really making me think about how I learn in a totally different way.
It's exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, and I know that, Ali applies these methods to learning specific skills as well, like languages.
That's right.
So tell me about that.
He suggests memorizing phrases instead of single words.
Oh, okay. So instead of just like, memorizing vocabulary lists, I'm actually learning how people actually speak.
Exactly, you're learning in context.
That makes a lot of sense.
And he uses a technique called the yellow elephant association to really make these phrases stick.
Okay, a yellow elephant, huh?
Yes.
I'm intrigued. Let's try it out.
Okay, so let's try a simple phrase in Spanish.
All right.
¿Cómo estás? Which means, how are you?
Okay, bring it on.
Okay, so first let's break down the pronunciation. So, ¿cómo sounds like como, and estas sounds like estas.
¿Cómo estás?
Good.
Okay.
Now imagine this. You're walking through a bustling marketplace,
Mhm.
and you see a giant yellow elephant wearing a stylish straw hat.
Okay.
You approach the elephant cautiously, and you ask it, ¿Cómo estás? But instead of answering you, the elephant just shrugs its massive shoulders.
Okay, so the como is the straw hat.
Yes.
And the estas is the shrug.
That's right.
That's funny. So you're connecting the sounds to a memorable story.
Yeah, and that's going to help me remember what it means and how to say it.
I
I
like
like
it.
this method a lot.
And you can use it for any language. Okay, well, that's very cool. Now, I know that Ali also talks about speed reading,
Yes, he does.
which is something that I've always been curious about. Like, can anyone learn how to speed read?
He believes so.
Okay.
He emphasizes that it's not just about racing through the text, but it's about training your brain to process information more efficiently.
Okay, so it's not just about reading faster,
Mhm.
but it's about understanding what I'm reading.
Exactly. You want to retain the information.
Right.
Uh.
Of course, I've tried some speed reading techniques before, but I always feel like I'm missing things.
That's a common experience at first.
Okay?
It takes time for your brain to adjust.
Right.
But with practice, speed reading can boost your efficiency and your comprehension.
So it's a skill worth developing,
Absolutely.
even if it takes a bit of effort.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
From the power of imagination to these really specific memory techniques to language learning and speed reading.
It's been quite a journey.
It's been a journey. So I think we should take a little break and then we'll come back and talk more about
And see what other insights we can glean
exactly
from the book.
Yeah, from how to learn almost anything in 48 hours.
So as we delve back into this exploration of learning mastery, are you ready to uncover more?
I'm all ears, especially after that break.
Yeah.
I feel like my brain's primed for more insights.
Excellent. Well, Ollie doesn't stop there. He actually provides specific strategies for different learning goals, recognizing that certain subjects can be real roadblocks.
Yeah, some topics just make my mind go blank.
Exactly. And he acknowledges that, so for instance, he has a whole section on memorizing mathematical formulas, which we all know can be tricky.
Oh, yeah. For me, math is like a trigger for instant brain fog.
I hear you, but Ollie suggests applying the same principles of visualization and association.
So instead of trying to cram abstract symbols, I should create a story around them.
That's the idea. He encourages us to make those symbols tangible, create a narrative.
Hmm. So instead of seeing the quadratic formula as a jumble of letters and numbers, I could picture a parabola, like a bird soaring through the air.
Exactly, you're getting it. And the more personalized and engaging the story, the better.
That could actually make math fun.
Well, at least less intimidating.
Definitely. And he also talks about essay writing, which is another area where I tend to struggle.
Many people do, but Ali suggests using mind maps.
Oh, yeah, but those can be kind of overwhelming, too.
Not necessarily. He recommends using them to brainstorm and organize your thoughts before you even start writing.
So it's like creating a roadmap for the essay.
Exactly, a blueprint to keep you focused and organized.
Okay, that makes sense, breaking it down into smaller steps.
And the beauty of these techniques is that they can be applied to so many different areas.
Yeah, it seems like there's a common thread of creativity and imagination.
Definitely finding ways to make the information come alive.
It's not just about memorization, it's about understanding and engaging with the material.
And speaking of engaging, have you heard about Ollie's personal challenge with the yellow pages?
The yellow pages, what do you mean?
He decided to memorize the entire Sydney Yellow Pages in 24 days.
Wait, the whole thing, like every name and address and phone number?
A single one, it sounds impossible, right?
That's insane. How did he even do that?
Well, he meticulously documented his process in the book, showing how he used a combination of visualization association and the major system.
So it's like a real-life example of how these techniques can be used to achieve incredible things.
Exactly. And it highlights the importance of setting goals, breaking them down, and being consistent.
Yeah, it's not magic. It's about strategy and effort.
But it also shows that these techniques are not just for memory champions, they're for anyone.
That's inspiring to know that we all have that potential within us.
Precisely. And Ali emphasizes that learning should be driven by passion and personal growth, not just external pressure.
I wonder if that's part of what motivates those memory athletes.
It could be they're not just memorizing for a competition, they're pushing their own limits.
Yeah, they're genuinely interested in what they're doing.
Exactly, and that enthusiasm can be applied to any learning goal.
It's true, when you're really passionate about something, the hard work doesn't feel so hard.
And Ali encourages us to find that passion to explore different areas and keep learning throughout our lives.
That's a great message.
Oh.
I think we often get stuck in a rut and forget how much joy there is in discovering new things.
Well, this deep dive has certainly been a journey of discovery so far, wouldn't you say?
It really has, and I'm curious to hear what key takeaways you've gleaned from all these insights as we wrap up this exploration. Okay, so we're back, and I'm really excited to distill some key takeaways from this deep dive into how to learn almost anything in 48 hours. I feel like we've uncovered some really valuable insights.
I agree. It's been a really stimulating conversation about how we learn and how we can optimize that process.
Yeah, for me, one of the biggest takeaways is the importance of imagination in learning.
Definitely, Ollie's emphasis on moving away from rote memorization and toward a more creative and engaging approach really resonates.
Yeah, I always thought of learning as this very serious and structured process, but Ollie's method is so much more playful.
It's about making those connections and finding ways to make the information meaningful to you.
Yeah, like that yellow elephant wearing a straw hat. I'm never going to forget that image.
See, the power of visualization, it's not just about remembering facts. It can be applied to so many areas.
And not just for memory athletes either. Like
Yeah,
anyone can use these techniques.
exactly. It's about unlocking that potential that we all have within us.
And I love how practical these techniques are. Like I can actually see myself using them in my daily life.
Absolutely. Whether it's remembering names, managing passwords, or just staying organized.
It's about integrating these memory techniques into the way we live and learn.
Ultimately, it's about cultivating that love of learning throughout our lives.
Yeah, finding those subjects that spark our curiosity and never stop exploring.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I'd like to leave our listeners with a question. If you could master any skill in 48 hours, what would it be, and how would you use it to make a positive impact?
That's a great question. One that I hope our listeners will really ponder and to help them on their learning journey. I've actually put together 10 key takeaways from our exploration of how to learn almost anything in 48 hours.
Sounds great. I'm all ears.
All right, here we go. Number 1, ditch the rote learning and embrace the power of imagination. Visualize, create stories, and make it fun. Number 2, try out those memory techniques we discussed, like linking and association, the number shape system, and the method of loci. Number 3, when it comes to languages, focus on memorizing phrases, not just individual words. Number 4, unlock the potential of speed reading. Train your brain to absorb information in larger chunks. Number 5, use memory techniques to remember names, find your keys, and manage those pesky passwords. Number 6, explore the world of memory championships for a mental workout and some real-world benefits. Number 7, tap into the power of mind mapping for better organization, studying and unleashing your creativity. Number 8, remember smash and scope. That's your secret weapon for making any information stick. Number 9, embrace the joy of learning new things, experiment, and don't be afraid to challenge yourself. And finally, number 10, remember, there's always more to learn. Keep exploring, keep growing, and keep that mind sharp.
Wow, what a fantastic summary. It's been a real pleasure exploring these concepts with you.
Likewise, and to all our listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into how to learn almost anything in 48 hours. I hope you found it as insightful as we did, and until next time, happy learning.